Asterisk, you know. People often tell me, Priyanka, you've achieved so much. Was it luck? Was it talent? And I smile because honestly, it was discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not red carpets, applause, or Instagram likes. It's waking up before the sun, even when no one is watching. It's saying no to what's easy and yes to what's hard again and again. When I was 17, I landed in a completely new country with 2 suitcases, an accent people didn't understand, and dreams that people thought were too big. I didn't have a plan B. What I had was discipline. Every day I pushed myself to show up, whether it was auditions, training, or just learning to stand tall when I felt invisible. See, discipline is not about controlling your life, it's about creating your life. It's the difference between wishing and achieving, between talking and doing. It's not motivation that gets you there, because motivation fades, discipline stays. So my challenge to you is this: every day, do something that your future self will thank you for, even if it's uncomfortable, even if no one sees it, because one day you'll look back and realize the small disciplined choices you made every single day are the reason you became unstoppable. Asterisk, when you think about your dreams, you probably see them as these shining, beautiful visions somewhere far away, almost like a distant island you want to reach, and you imagine the life you could have, the success you could feel, the person you could become. But between you and that island, there is this huge body of water, a gap that cannot be crossed by simply wishing or wanting it. The gap is not closed by luck or talent alone. It is closed by something far less glamorous, but infinitely more powerful. It is closed by discipline, because discipline is the bridge. It is the steady plank you lay down day after day, with every consistent action, every repeated effort, every choice you make to show up, even when you are tired, even when you are scared, even when it feels like no one cares. It is the structure that carries you from the land of intentions to the land of achievements, and without it dreams remain like postcards you keep in your drawer, pretty to look at, but never touched by your hands. You see, most people fall in love with the idea of success. They picture the applause, the recognition, the sense of pride, but what they don't often see is the grind that happens behind the curtains, the early mornings when it's still dark outside and you are putting in the work, the late nights when you are reviewing, perfecting, and preparing while the rest of the world is asleep, the countless moments you choose discipline over distraction, uncomfortable choices you make to delay short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. That is where the bridge is built, brick by brick, day by day. And the fascinating thing is, the bridge doesn't just connect you to your dream, it transforms you while you walk on it. Every repetition, every challenge, every act of self-control shapes you into the person who not only reaches the dream, but is capable of holding on to it. And without this transformation, even if the dream landed in your lap, it would slip away because you would not yet be the person ready to sustain it. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about showing up when your feelings say stay in bed, when your mind says take it easy, when the world says no one will notice if you skip today. Because discipline is not a one-time decision, it is a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes the architecture of your success. Think of it like building a bridge over a raging river. If you stop halfway, the current will carry you back to where you started. But if you keep laying one plank after another with patience and trust in the process, you eventually step onto the other side. And once you do, you realize something powerful, that the bridge you built was not only for that one dream, it can carry you to the next dream and the next, because once you master discipline, you no longer see your goals as impossible islands. You see them as destinations that are simply waiting for you to build your way there with your own 2 hands, and every step you take makes the next one easier, stronger, and faster, until discipline is no longer just something you practice, it is who you are. Motivation is like a spark. It's exciting, it's powerful, it can light up your entire mind in an instant. You feel unstoppable for a moment, your energy is high, your vision is clear, and you believe you can do anything. But just like a spark, if you don't protect it and feed it, it dies out quickly. That's why so many people start something with fire in their eyes and then slowly fade away. The energy runs out, the excitement fades, the reality of hard work sets in, and suddenly what seemed so easy yesterday feels impossible today. This is where discipline steps in, because discipline is the fuel that keeps the engine running long after motivation burns out. It is the quiet voice that says get up when you'd rather stay down. It is the decision to keep going when the thrill is gone. It is the action that continues even when you no longer feel like taking it. Without discipline, your journey is just a burst of speed at the start, followed by a slow walk back to where you began. With discipline, your journey is steady, consistent, and unshakable because it's built on commitment, not just excitement. There will be days when you feel inspired, and those days are wonderful, but there will be far more days when you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. And on those days, your results will depend entirely on whether you have built the habit of discipline. Motivation is emotional. It's unpredictable. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline is logical. It's stable. It shows up regardless of how you feel. That's why people who rely only on motivation often find themselves starting over again and again. They keep waiting for the perfect mood or the right time, which never lasts long enough. But people who rely on discipline understand that action comes first and feelings follow. They know that even the smallest step forward on a bad day is more valuable than running on a good day, because progress is built on consistency, not on bursts of enthusiasm. When you learn to act without waiting to feel ready, you become unstoppable because you've learned to move regardless of the emotional climate. Think of motivation as the wind that can give your ship a powerful push, but it's discipline that lets you keep sailing even when the sea is calm. And there's no wind at all without discipline. You drift without control, waiting for the next breeze, hoping it comes soon. But with discipline, you keep rowing, you keep steering, you keep advancing toward your destination, no matter the conditions. This is the difference between finishing a race and just running in circles. Motivation will always have its place. It will inspire your dreams and give you the initial courage to begin, but it is discipline that will carry you across the finish line and into the next challenge and the next, until success is no longer something you hope for. It is something you expect, because you know you will show up and do the work, whether the world is cheering for you or not, because your strength is not tied to a feeling, it's tied to a decision you make every single day. Big goals can feel overwhelming. They look like mountains towering above you, and you wonder how you will ever climb to the top. But the truth is, you don't climb a mountain in a single leap. You climb it step by step, one deliberate move at a time. And that is exactly how small daily habits work. They may seem insignificant in the moment, almost too small to matter, but they are the steps that carry you upward every single day. If you read just 10 pages of a book each day, you may not notice a huge change tomorrow, but in a year you will have finished dozens of books. If you exercise for just 20 minutes each day, you may not transform overnight, but in a year your body and mind will be completely different. It's easy to overlook these small actions because they don't give instant results, but they are quietly compounding like interest in a bank account, growing more powerful over time. And one day you wake up and realize that the little things you chose to do consistently have built something extraordinary, something that could never have been created in a single burst of effort. No matter how intense, the power of small daily habits lies in their ability to become part of who you are. They don't require dramatic motivation. Once they are embedded into your routine, they happen almost automatically. And that is when the magic begins, because you no longer need to push yourself to act. You simply act as part of your identity. If you decide to write for just 15 minutes every day, you may not write a book in a week, but after months and years, you could have created an entire library. If you dedicate 5 minutes each morning to planning your day, you may not notice the impact immediately, but you will slowly start making better decisions, using your time more effectively, and feeling more in control of your life. Small habits are like seeds. When planted and watered daily, they grow roots deep inside you, and branches that reach toward the sky. They are not dramatic, they are not flashy, but they are unstoppable because they compound quietly and relentlessly until they shape your entire reality without you even realizing how far you've come, until you look back and see the distance between where you started and where you are now. The reason so many people fail to reach their dreams is not because they lack the ability, but because they underestimate the power of starting small. They believe they need to make massive changes overnight to succeed, but that mindset creates burnout and disappointment. The real transformation happens when you learn to be patient with your progress and consistent with your actions. Every small habit Like a vote you cast for the person you want to become, and the more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes. If you want to be healthy, you vote for that identity. Every time you choose nutritious food, every time you drink water instead of soda, every time you go for a walk instead of scrolling endlessly on your phone. If you want to be successful, you vote for it. Every time you learn something new, practice your skill or work on your craft. Even when no one is watching in the beginning, the results are invisible, but over time the evidence piles up, and one day people will ask you how you made such a big change, and you will know the truth. It wasn't one big leap. It was thousands of small steps taken consistently, every single day. Most people hear the word discipline and think of it as something restrictive, something that takes away their choices and limits their freedom. But in reality, the opposite is true. Discipline is not a prison. It is the key that unlocks the doors to the life you truly want. When you live without discipline, you may feel free in the moment because you can do whatever you want whenever you want, but that freedom is an illusion, because over time you become trapped by the consequences of your choices: poor health, from ignoring your body, stress from procrastination, missed opportunities from lack of preparation. All of these are chains you slowly place on yourself without even realizing it. Discipline removes those chains. It gives you control over your time, your energy, your mind. It allows you to shape your days intentionally instead of being a passenger in your own life. When you decide to wake up early and start your day with purpose, you gain hours others waste. When you choose to manage your money wisely, you gain the freedom to live without constant financial stress. When you commit to consistent effort in your work, you gain the freedom to create opportunities instead of waiting for them to appear. Discipline is not about saying no to life. It is about saying yes to the life you deserve. True freedom is not doing whatever you feel like in the moment. True freedom is having the power to live on your own terms, and that power comes from self-control. Without discipline, you are at the mercy of your impulses and emotions. You eat because you feel bored, you quit because you feel tired, you waste time because you feel distracted, and in the end your life is dictated by moods instead of goals. But when you have discipline, you still feel all those things: boredom, fatigue, distraction, yet you choose your actions based on your vision, not your feelings, and that is real power. Imagine the difference between a ship drifting aimlessly in the ocean and a ship sailing with a clear course. The drifting ship might feel free because it moves wherever the current takes it, but it will never reach a chosen destination. The disciplined ship uses its sails and its wheel to move with intention, to decide where it will go and to arrive there without being lost. That is what discipline gives you: the ability to navigate your own path and create the freedom to be exactly where you want to be in life. The most misunderstood thing about discipline is that it feels hard at first, but it feels liberating later. In the beginning, it demands effort. It forces you to make choices that are uncomfortable, but over time, those choices turn into habits, and those habits turn into results, and those results turn into freedom. If you dedicate time every day to building your skills, you gain the freedom to choose the work you love instead of taking whatever job you can find. If you take care of your health, you gain the freedom to live fully without being held back by preventable illnesses. If you master your schedule, you gain the freedom to spend your time with the people you care about, doing the things that matter to you. Discipline is the tool that shapes the life you want. Without it, you are living on someone else's terms. With it, you hold the pen and write your own story. It is the quiet, consistent force that gives you the ultimate freedom, the freedom to wake up every morning knowing you are in control of where you are going and how you will get there every single day. You are casting votes for the person you will become. Your future self is not built in some distant magical moment. It is built right here, right now, in the choices you make today, the way you speak to yourself, the effort you put into your work, the discipline you show when no one is watching. These are the bricks that build the foundation of your tomorrow. So if you want a future where you are confident, successful, healthy, and fulfilled, you cannot wait for that version of you to just appear. You have to create them one choice at a time. If you want a strong body, start moving it today. If you want financial stability, start managing your money today. If you want mastery in your craft, start practicing today. There is no shortcut around this, because the future is simply a delayed result of the present. Every decision you make is either moving you closer to the person you want to become or further away. And the scary truth is, you can spend years dreaming of a better future, but without action in the present, it will remain nothing more than a fantasy. Think about it like planting a tree. If you plant a seed today, You may not see much tomorrow, but over time, with care and consistency, it grows into something strong, something that gives shade, fruit, and beauty. The same goes for your future self. Every effort you make now, no matter how small, is like watering that seed. Skipping a workout today may not seem like a big deal, but over months and years it adds up into weakness and regret. Reading a few pages today may not seem life-changing, but over months and years it turns into knowledge and perspective that can open doors you never thought possible. The problem is most people underestimate the compounding effect of small actions. They think missing one day won't matter, and in isolation it doesn't, but repeated over time, it defines who you become. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is closed not by grand gestures, but by daily dedication and the patience to trust the process. Even when results are invisible, your future self will thank you or blame you based on the habits you practice right now. You are either setting yourself up for freedom and success, or you are setting yourself up for struggle and limitation, and the deciding factor is how you choose to spend your days. If you spend them chasing distractions, avoiding challenges, and seeking comfort, you will meet a version of yourself years from now who wishes you had made different choices. But if you spend them building, discipline, learning, growing, and taking consistent action, you will meet a version of yourself who is grateful, proud, and unshakable. The truth is, the future is not a surprise, it is a reflection of your present life choices. When you understand this, you stop waiting for inspiration to strike and start building the version of yourself you want to become. You realize that every moment today is an opportunity to shape tomorrow into something remarkable, and you stop treating the present as disposable because you know it is the construction site of the life you will live for the rest of your days.